We can do it. We are going to win for the first time in 56 years. A Republican is going to represent the 27th Assembly District here in Queens. And come January, David Hirsch will be that member of the Assembly. And we have a great team working on this. It starts with the candidate. We've got a candidate who knows the issues here in the 27th Assembly District. He has worked this district for years. He knows the issues. He understands it. He's an ordained rabbi. He has worked these issues. He understands that with respect to criminal justice, we need to get rid of the so-called bail reform. We are the only city in the United States, the only state in the United States that a judge cannot consider how dangerous the perp is when he decides whether to let him go or not. We have to change that, and David Hirsch will work to change that in the Assembly. And with respect to illegal immigration, that even the mayor has said is destroying our city. You know, the magnet that's attracting them here, it's the right to shelter. We are the only city in the whole United States that has a right to shelter law. David Hirsch will go to the Assembly to change that, and he'll change it and get rid of the right to shelter law here in New York City. And with respect to education, we need to have the big reform. We need to have choice in education, so a parent can decide where he or she is going to send their child. We need to have choice in education.
That's right.
That's an issue that David Hirsch knows very well. We need to also have merit selection for the specialized schools. We need to have tests. We do not need to have other standards. Only merit. That's what we need for our specialized schools.
That's right.
So we are a team working together. The New York GOP, state GOP, and let's give a big hand to John Haggerty, who's been working this issue for us. And we've got the Queens GOP. They are the key to it. Let's give a shout out to the Chair Nunziato, who's here. And the young Republicans from all over the state were here today, knocking on doors, making the phone calls. Peter gets at the head of the state young Republicans. Let's give the state young Republicans a cheer. And we've got the Asian Caucus. They're also here. They're represented. Let's give them a cheer. We are one team working for David Hirsch to win this election on Tuesday, the September 12th. Let's turn out, let's work the doors, let's vote, and let's make sure that David Hirsch represents the 27th Assembly District after next Tuesday. Thank you very much. Now let me introduce a person who showed that we could win this district.
I'm so sorry.
And that was our candidate for governor last
Right in front of my
November.
camera.
No, I'm not.
First time in years,
Go ahead.
a statewide
I'm
candidate
sorry.
won the 27th Assembly District, and that candidate was our candidate for governor, Lee Zeldin.
If you're upset with the direction of this city, you have an opportunity on Tuesday to change it. If you're upset with the direction of this state right now, and you want to know what can I do about it, you get active with this special election on Tuesday. You're upset with the direction of this country. You love our flag and our freedom. You want safety and prosperity. You care about the future, and you want to know what you could do about it. Do everything in your power to make sure the vote is showing up on Tuesday to make David Hirsch our next state assemblyman. That's what we do about it. We can't keep sending people up to Albany who are going to support one party democratic rule that gave us cashless bail and less is more and raised the age. The same party that is electing weak rogue prosecutors who refuse to enforce laws. We hear from the mayor a few days ago about how the path right now this city is on is one that is a path towards destruction. What are we going to do about it? We know what has caused this issue with migrants flooding the city. And we know it was policies that started on the first day that Joe Biden got into office. This isn't a coincidence. Right away, stopping construction of the border wall, advancing catch and release, getting rid of Title 42, getting rid of the Remain in Mexico policy, instead of supporting our Customs and Border Patrol agents, they started throwing them under the bus. Maybe we should get rid of sanctuary city policies and sanctuary state policies. You incentivize and reward this type of entry for people who do not want to follow the rules. And what's going to happen? They're going to keep on coming. I don't care if you are a blue city mayor or a red city mayor. It doesn't matter if you are a blue state governor or a red state governor. Everyone can be working together. And I'll tell you, the answer isn't about just putting your hand out and asking for money. That's not going to make this go away. We need leadership. We need people to stand up to this status quo. If you're happy with the direction of Albany right now, if you're thrilled with one-party Democratic rule and what it's giving us, if you think it's fantastic the way they attack yeshiva education and pass a substantial equivalency test, if you think that it's okay to be passing new energy laws and regulations that are going to make life in New York less affordable, if you think that it's okay to keep putting your hand inside of taxpayers' wallets because you, the government, think that you know how to spend people's money better than they can spend it themselves. If you're happy with this status quo, then you vote for the other guy. If everything's going okay in New York, everything's good in New York City, if you think everything's good in New York State and everything's good in the United States of America, maybe this isn't your rally. But if you are thinking about the direction of this country, if we keep flipping our values upside down, if we let people try to lecture us that what is right is wrong and what's wrong is right, if you're tired of social media censorship, if you want to back our amazing men and women in law enforcement, if you want to be able to survive here in this state any further, the choice is clear. I want every single person out there, and many of them are here. You came up, you said you supported our race for governor last year. You said you wish that it went a different direction. Yeah, me too. I got one thing to ask for you. I have just one ask. Between now and Tuesday, do absolutely everything in your power to tell everyone you know, whether it's emails and texts and social media, it's doors to go knock. Whatever you can do to get the vote out, because you can't wake up on Wednesday morning, September 13th, having just sent one more Democrat to Albany, who isn't going to challenge the status quo, but to enthusiastically join it for who knows how long. I don't want to wake up Wednesday morning with that being the reality. You have members here of the Asian American community who are here passionately concerned, and members of their own community are getting killed, stabbed to the death in their apartment in Lower Manhattan, pushed in front of a subway car and killed, beaten to death on the street with a hammer. These are actual things happening to the Asian American community, and they are all mobilized and strong. They want merit-based entry in specialty schools. They don't want to get rid of advanced academics in the name of equity. And they don't support critical race theory. Talk to the members of the Asian American community who are here. And they're not here because they're Republicans. As a matter of fact, the support that we got from the Asian American community came more from Democrats. Because this transcends politics. And this race transcends politics. And I want to save the city, I want to save the state, and I want to save this country. And there's one man who we need to rally behind these next few days if we want any of that. And how cool would it be for the Democrats to be waking up Wednesday morning and saying, "Holy schnitzel." We had an opportunity in a district that was so overwhelmingly Democrat. But because we were wrong on so many issues and because David Hirsch was the right man for the job, he is now the Assemblyman elect. But we have to make that happen. Without any further ado, our next Assemblyman, David Hirsch.
Thank you so much, Congressman Zeldin, for that wonderful introduction. Thank you, Chairman Cox. Thank you, County Chairman Nunziato. This election, we are faced with an unprecedented rise in crime in New York City, snatch and grabs off the streets, store robberies, holdups, and all we see is the criminals coming in and out of prison like a revolving door. Cashless bail has been an absolute disaster. We need a system of proportional bail where bail is set proportional to the crime, and that after a certain number of offenses, someone would lose access to bail because they've proven themselves not to be responsible enough to be back out in society. We currently have this migrant crisis, which has been a failure of leadership from the Democratic Party, from President Biden to Governor Hochul to Mayor Adams, where everyone just keeps passing everything along to the next person in the chain. And Adams, as he just said recently, he's going to stick migrant shelters and facilities in every single neighborhood in New York City because he has nowhere else to put it. We already have in the 27th Assembly District a facility already that's a temporary transit point facility with people coming in and out at all times, and that neighborhood up in College Point has been plagued with crime because of it. People have had their private property damaged, and now the city already has had crews measuring out in Flushing Meadow Park for a center. There's talks about every neighborhood, as Mayor says, every neighbor is going to have it, and we don't want this in our neighborhood. It should be up to the communities to choose whether they want the facility or not, and they have no right to force it into our neighborhoods. Governor Hochul has said by the end of this year it'll have cost the state $12 billion to cover the cost of the migrants. Where is that money coming from? Our taxpayer dollars, money that's we are desperately needed in New York as we're cutting services. And now Mayor Adams talks about 5% cuts to every agency across the board to cover this. This is a crisis of the Democrat Party's manufacturing, and we need to send them a message. We've had enough of it. When it comes to education, particularly in the Asian community, people are worried about that they've made the elite high schools what they call protected access, which means racial proportionality rather than merit-based with a lottery system. We need to protect the elite high schools as what they are, elite, instead of creating a system of legalized discrimination against Asians, who before they changed it were 62% of the system. We need to make sure that the SHSAT is protected in place and it's merit-based. And in the Jewish community, we have seen the New York State Board of Regents attacking yeshivas. Boo! We have seen that they want to try to put in so-called substantial equivalency, which is just another excuse for the state takeover of private school education. When you look at the state's reports, they keep on citing 18 yeshivas failed, but they still have refused to let the public see the metrics they use to assess that. And there are over 400 yeshivas in New York State. If 18 out of 400 allegedly even failed as they claim, that's no justification for anything. They are making excuses, they are making up numbers, and they are trying to take over because it's an area of education they do not have control over. While they push left-wing politics in the classrooms throughout the public schools, they now want to try to go into private schools, which is the last place they don't control. Rather, what we need is we need less government interference in private schools. We need school choice in New York to help parents who pay taxes to a public school system they choose not to use because they feel there is a better option for their children. And we need to put a stop to the state interference between the specialized public high schools and between yeshivas, and we need to protect education in New York because lowering the passing rate to 50% is not the solution to fix students failing. The solution is to provide more options and fix it. This election, we can send a message to the Democrats in Albany. Currently, they have a supermajority, but we are very close to breaking that supermajority. And coming into 2024's elections, when Democrats see that they can lose seats because of those policies by the radical left who controls the party, they will start waking up, and we will see members starting to actually engage in policies that benefit the community, not progressive special interests. Because by sending a message this Tuesday that we have had enough of their bad policies, they will start waking up, because none of them want to lose their seats next year. And all of those who don't change, we will take their seats next year in the election. So remember Tuesday, 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. to come out to vote and send a message to Albany. Enough is enough, and this has to stop now.
All right, we electing David Hirsch? He's a Democrat who is willing to support people on either side of the aisle, depending on whether they are on the right side of the issue. He is a common sense Democrat who realizes that what we need in this Assembly District is to elect David Hirsch. Without any further ado, Robert Holden.
Thank you. And by the way, a common sense Democrat, there's two of us in the city council.
Yep.
Two of us. Councilman Yeager, my good friend. And of course myself, and 6 Republicans. But we know that common sense will prevail in the city of New York if we elect common sense candidates like David Hirsch. Now, the reason why I'm crossing party lines, and I did with somebody, Lee Zeldin, obviously, that should have been the governor of New York. And I think I made the right decision in crossing party lines. I took some flack, let's say, from my fellow Democrats who said, "You're not a real Democrat." Well, I've been a Democrat longer than most of them have been alive. 50 years a Democrat I'm celebrating. But I voted for the best candidate in those 50 years. I didn't vote party, because that's insane if you do that. If you just say, if you're a Democrat, you always vote Democrat, that we're in a predicament because of that. Because Democrats follow in line. Bail reform is a disaster in New York State. Sanctuary cities. You know what that means, sanctuary city? It means that the city council voted over the years to not let our NYPD share information with Customs and Enforcement, Immigration, ICE. They said not to share information. Why did we form Homeland Security, by the way? When did we form it? We formed it a few years after 9/11. Why? So we can avoid a terrorist act like 9/11 because of the communications between NYPD and ICE. Now, some of my colleagues in the city council want to do away with ICE. Imagine that. So we have a porous southern border with, you know that terrorists are coming in. You know it. That's an easy way to get into the United States. And then we put them up in hotels because we're a sanctuary city and we have a right to shelter. That is insanity. Particularly from a city that was hit the hardest on 9/11. We haven't learned our lessons from it. Correct. But I am voting for the best candidate. I always do. And I really feel at this point, this is probably the most important election. We have a special election Tuesday, but we have to start being smart as Democrats. Vote for candidates that will do what we want, that will keep us safe, not follow party lines. Don't follow the party lines. Vote with common sense. So let's get smart here now, folks. A lot of Democrats out there, join me in voting for David Hirsch.
final speaker who also just joined us, Assemblyman Michael Novakhov, Assemblyman who is looking forward to seeing a new colleague sworn in for the Assembly Republican Conference, and no one can speak with more experience of what the consequences are of this current alignment of power. We appreciate his support, his amazing support of David. Thank you for being here. We hear from Assemblyman Michael Novakhov.
You know, when I started running a year and a half ago, people just were coming to me and saying, "Are you crazy? He's a 22-year incumbent that you know, you just can't beat. That's it. No way." And I won with a 61%. We need to believe in common sense, and that common sense wins. And common sense is David Hirsch today. In the 7th district. David, I want in January, I want to see you, not that face, your face. I want to see you in New York State Assembly, and that's going to be another step, because you know we have to take this step by step to make them to make Democrats a majority instead of supermajority. And a lot of people are asking, what is the difference? Why making them a majority out of supermajority is important? Because if they're just a majority, we have a right of veto, so we can veto that nonsense that they're rolling out. So, David, it's an extremely important step that you know we will have to take on Tuesday to vote for you and elect you in New York State Assembly as a Republican. Extremely important, and I wish you a lot of luck, and I'll spread the news all the way I can.